Here is the very unfortunate truth, my friend. The weekends are exactly like that ultimate anchor, which is holding you back from ever actually dropping that weight, getting rid of that excess body fat that you have grown to hate, and actually having that body that resembles something that you can look at and be proud of. But why? Because logically, it's only another 2 days of the week. For years, Monday, Friday, I was good. Every single Sunday night, I was going to bed genuinely pissed off and frustrated that I had yet again fallen off track at the weekend. And it happened so often to me that I eventually started to look at the weekends like you would look at that villain on the ultimate difficulty in the video game. That bastard that you just could not get past and beat. But eventually I did. I beat the hardest villain on the most challenging difficulty. And it stopped being the anchor which was keeping me out of shape, and it started being the thing which actually helped me drop over 40 kilograms and get in the best shape of my life. So first of all, it is how you are viewing the weekend psychologically and mentally before you even get to the weekend, because you constantly see Saturday and Sunday as a time to switch off and relax. As a caveat, of course, generally speaking, you probably do work Monday, Friday, and you do have that more time off from your work routine at the weekend. So I'm not trying to say that you need to live the exact same day Saturday, Sunday as you do Monday, Friday. However, when it comes to your standards and your routine and your habits, all of the things which are probably serving you really, really well Monday, Friday, you just completely change your mindset around it when it comes to the weekend. I'm going to have more time to do that at the weekend. I'll have more time to train, so I don't need to go in the morning. I'll have more time to cook. All of these things Monday, Friday, which you are very much I'm going to do X, Y, and Z at X, Y, Z time, it becomes, well, I'll do it then. I'll do it at some point. I'll do it some. I've got a bit more time. So where you're giving yourself that self-accountability before the week even starts, when it comes to the Friday, you have a completely different mindset around the weekend. So of course, you're shooting yourself in the foot before you even get to the weekend, because you're removing all sense of routine and structure. Next up is the fact that you never pick and choose your battles. You just give in to every single one of them. The biggest issue that I had for years, and that I see clients and people have time after time, is that they don't know how to work around it. So they just go, well, I'll just say yes to everything. So every single weekend you've got a social occasion, something which involves you eating off a plan or drinking alcohol or having a sense of not your usual structure and routine. When I say pick and choose your battles, I'm saying pick the weekends where you're going to be that more social, and pick the weekends where maybe you are that little bit more of the boring person. Especially if you're in that dieting focus and you're looking to get leaner. You're going to have the really special occasions, the big nights out, the really special birthdays, the really memorable occasions. But see if it's just a random Saturday night piss up or a random Friday night dinner, which you could probably just prep your own food for and take. You have to know when to pick and choose your battles. Yes, of course, you still want to live your life and enjoy yourself and have a social occasion every now and again. However, if you're just saying yes week after week after week after week after week, it is going to be slowing down your progress. Next up is you are never prepping food for the weekend like you do Monday, Friday. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Saturday, Sunday, you need to eat the exact same breakfast, lunch and dinner that you had Monday, Friday. However, why not continue some of that structure over to the weekend, which was working so well for you Monday, Friday? Because on the Sunday, what you probably done was something along the lines of, you prepared your lunches that you would take to work with you. You had an idea roughly of what you would sort of be having for your dinner, and for your breakfasts, they were either prepped or there were things in the fridge that you could take ready to have in the morning or take to work with you. You had that sense of structure, and what did it do? It helped keep you on track. You get to the weekend, and similar to what I said earlier on, everything just goes up in smoke. Oh, well, I might maybe have that breakfast, but I don't really need to fully think about it because I've got time to have a lie-in. So then your macro targets, it becomes a lot harder because all of the things that you were doing Monday, Friday to help you achieve those things, you just stop doing. So then you don't have the breakfast prepared or anything of an idea of what you're having on the Saturday morning. When you get to the Sunday and you've not prepared anything, and potentially you're a little bit hungover from that social occasion on the Saturday night, you've not got anything prepared. So what do? You get a takeaway, something that you would never usually have Monday, Friday, and you get frustrated about it, and then you get to the Monday and you're like, oh, I wish I'd just been more on it with my food at the weekend. You can be. You don't have to be perfect, but if you, for example, have a breakfast that works really well for you Monday, Friday, eat the same breakfast Saturday, Sunday. It doesn't have to be the exact active, but if there are certain meals and certain foods which are helping you feel more organised and on it and routine Monday, Friday, why would you not carry it through the weekend? Now, everything that I've mentioned so far in this video and what I'm about to mention in the rest of the video are all just some of the techniques which I teach and coach in my group coaching program, Build in 8. And on August the 28th, we are going live once again. It is 8 weeks, £99 for a fast, rapid fat loss. None of us like dieting. We all enjoy more food, and we would all love to see the scales fly down, to see the visual differences in the mirror sooner rather than later. And that's what Build in 8 is all about. I'm not going to sit here and blabber on about it. There is a link down in the description below, which will take you to the page where you can get all the information that you need to see how you can get yourself a discounted £99 spot. It is shit hot. It is going to be the best purchase of your year. I cannot wait to see you there. Back to the video. Now we're going to be getting into the actual nitty gritty of when you're in the weekend. For years, what I always struggled with, if I had a meal out on the Saturday night, I had two different ways I would go about it. I would either absolutely starve myself and literally just not eat anything throughout the whole day, which then meant that I was absolutely starving by the time that I got to that meal out, so I would just go crazy. Alternatively, I would go, oh, well, I can't really track this food tonight, so let's just go mental and, fuck it, what's the point? Let's just have a full day off plan. There was never any in between. That is what I found though, eventually, was that secret in between, that special in between. And do you know all it is? It is simply just having one full meal before that dinner out and making sure that is a low calorie, high protein meal. That would be something like a skyr yogurt protein bowl with some fruit, a big fat chicken salad, because the benefit of the protein is that you're likely not going to be hitting your protein target through just that dinner. By hitting that high protein meal, when you've pushed it back, it's going to be helping you hit your protein targets. It's also more satiating, so it's also going to help you keep fuller, which is going to be a lot more beneficial as you are getting a bit hungrier in the hours leading up to that meal. It's also meaning that if you're having it at 11 AM, it's going to be keeping you full until 3-4 o'clock, which means that you may only have a couple of hours of being a bit hungry before your dinner, compared to eating it at 8 AM, being fucking starving again by 11-12, and then you've got to go through 4 to 5 hours of genuinely all you can think about is food, which again can lead to that risk of getting to the meal out and just going, fucking hell, I just need to eat everything in sight. Next up is when you're out for drinks and making smarter choices. For years, I never actually really thought about the calories in alcohol, in wine and beers especially. I remember the first time that I found out the amount of calories that were in like a pint of beer, and I was shook because I would be sinking like 6 to 7 of those motherfuckers on a night out thinking it's only beer, it's only liquid calories, and then I'd wonder why the next 2 days my weight went up by 4.5 kilograms. When you hit out for drinks, you want to almost have an inner menu of alcoholic drinks that you can go for when it gets to the night out. So I'm talking about things like spirits and diet mixers, rum and diet coke, gin and slimline tonic, hard seltzers, White Claws, those little diet tonic cocktail cans. Because say, for example, you go on a night out and you have 10 drinks, which is, very achievable. Say, for example, if you're having an alcoholic drink, which is something like a vodka soda lime, which is about 100 calories, and you have 10 of them, that's 1,000 calories. Compare that to if you were to have 5 pints, 3 glasses of wine, and then a couple of the vodka soda limes. You're now probably in that 2,500 to 3,500 calorie mark. And if you're doing that every single time you go for a night out, over the weeks, over the months, over the year, that's a lot of calories. How much is it slowing down your progress? So when you're out for those drinks, make smarter, better choices. Now, when it comes to eating out, you constantly have this mindset of looking at the menu of, oh, well, I can't track it, so what's the point? And you essentially allow this caged animal inside you. And this caged animal is told, you've got 2 hours in this restaurant where you can't fully track everything that you're eating. So none of it really counts. So just eat as much as you humanly can. So you go for the starter, you go for the main, you go for the dessert, you go for the snacks after dinner, and your scale weight shoots up the day after, and you're frustrated and pissed off at your, yes, somewhat dumb choices. Now, I am not here to say go for a meal out and order a salad. What I would say is what I mentioned earlier, and picking and choosing your battles. So pick and choose the meals out where you are going to have that little bit more flexibility with your choice, and pick and choose the dinners out where you are going to probably make the somewhat more boring, healthier choice. Sometimes it has to be done. If you're also doing what I told you to do earlier, pushing your first meal back and having a lower calorie, higher protein meal, then you should still have quite a bit of calories left over to still have what would be a more calorie dense meal than what you would usually have Monday, Friday. Now, when it comes to what the fuck do you pick on the menu? You want to avoid fried and baked and loaded, things that have got loads of creams and cheese through them. You want to be looking pan fried or grilled or even boiled. You want to still have a really good, solid, strong protein source in that meal. I would also recommend not trying to spread your food across 3 courses, but actually just stick to one more substantial main meal. You will still be able to get a really, really good sized meal in there. It's not about being ultimate health. I cannot ever enjoy my food and go out and, socialise, but it's also not about being, well, fuck it, what's the point? And finishing off at what I believe is probably the biggest killer is the day after. Now, if we look at Friday, Saturday, Sunday as a 72-hour period, let's say that your social occasion takes up about 4 to 5 hours of those weekend. Then you're talking about 65 hours. If we take away 24 hours from those for 3 nights of 8 hours sleep, you're now sitting at about 40 hours sleep. Do you not believe that those 40 hours are probably going to have a bigger determining factor on how well you stay on track at the weekend? Because it wasn't just that social occasion that you believe is the thing that fucked you up. That's not what fucked you up. Yeah, it was probably a factor, but it was more everything else that I've said so far. It was the fact that in the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, leading up to the weekend, your mindset was poor. You were looking at it as a time to switch off. As soon as it got to Friday, you were already 75% in the weekend mindset. So all those smart routine habits, structures, standards that you had Monday, Thursday, you've already stopped doing. And then on the Saturday, you probably went in with the mindset of, well, I'm going to be going out or eating out tonight, so I'll probably just relax a bit today and I'll get back to it fully tomorrow. And then you wake up on the Sunday and you're hungover or you're tired or you've seen your scale weight shoot up after the Friday, Saturday, and you're like, well, what's the fucking point? I've already ruined this week, so I'll get back to it on Monday. So then on the Sunday, that becomes a day of probably guilt. What's the fucking point? I'm just gonna do nothing and eat like shit. And that's what I would do for years. I would really be on it. Honestly, perfect Monday, Friday. Get to Saturday and I'd be going out most weekends, or I'd be eating out most weekends. And I get to the Sunday, my scale weight's went up and I've went, right, well, I'm just gonna have to get back to it tomorrow. So what should only have been a few hours of social occasions on the Saturday, I would turn into 72 hours of poor standards. And that, not just a social occasion, that is what is holding you back. So when it comes to the weekends going forward, when you're trying to diet and drop that weight and drop that body fat, please stop looking at the weekend as just a time to switch off. Start looking at it as a period to, yes, have a little bit less structure and routine and more relaxation than you do Monday, Friday, but still carry over some of those standards from the Monday, Friday, which was working so well. And I guarantee that you will stop getting to Monday and being pissed off at the weekend, and you will get to Monday and you'll be happy with how you're able to maintain over the weekend, and now you can push hard again now that it's a fresh new week. I hope that you've taken a lot away from this video, and if you'd like to learn any more, then click on one of the 2 videos that are on screen right now, which are also going to help you plenty. I will see you very soon. Catch you later.